Hey everyone, welcome to the latest stream for React 2025, and today we are going to be building out the dashboard page. So on this dashboard page we're going to list out all of the feedback for your own user. So me as a user, I might leave comments on multiple sites, and this stream will be making a new route and setting up a table displaying all of the feedback. It's going to be pretty similar to the sites table that we did before. We'll have an API route that's going to talk to our Firestore database. We're going to then hook up these links in the navigation, and then if there's time at the end, I'm also going to try and do some sign in with Google fun. So we will see how far we can get, and the majority of this stream will probably be just me coding, and I'll chime in with little nuggets here and there, but most of this I've kind of already showed how to do, and this will be similar to the sites table. So with that being said, I'm gonna turn on some music and just jump right into it. Okay, new route. Start the application locally. Okay, so we have our sites page. We're going to want to do something very similar to our dashboard. Let's do feedback. Let me know in the chat if the stream is lagging. It says it might be, so I can't tell. Okay, so we'll make a new API route at API feedback. Actually, we can probably reuse the site table skeleton, in all honesty. We'll get to that. Dashboard show, sites, site table. We'll want a feedback table. We'll take some feedback that we get from our API routes. Okay. Just so we're all on the same page, this is what it's originally was planned to look like: a list of the feedback, some route, and then a status, as well as the ability to remove. I've been thinking about this a little bit more, and the idea of a status on showing whether it's active or pending doesn't make a ton of sense as a label, because I want to have the ability to toggle whether that's showing or not. I think you as a user should get that ability, or you as a content moderator should be able to toggle the visibility of it. So one thing that I've been debating as I was looking into this was if I should just use a switch for this to determine whether that content is visible. So I might go down that route for now and then swing back if that doesn't match. So we got name, feedback, route. I'll just do visible. I guess route, visible, yeah, I think I only do that. This last table header and column is just to create a column for the remove. So I'm just putting nothing as the table header. Oh, the joys of feedback being both single and plural. Okay. The key on this will be I don't have route on the model yet, and this is something I was thinking about. I'm probably going to want to add that in so that if you have a site with like a blog, you're going to have different routes, but you're probably going to only want to configure one top level site and then save off which route specifically you're commenting on. So for now, since that's not on the data model, I'm just going to set that up as fake data. And then okay, we need an API route. It'll probably be very similar to sites. So given a request, verify the ID token, and then get the user feedback given their user ID, and return that feedback. So on the feedback table, we want to check the user ID or the author ID per se. One thing on here, I noticed that we're sharing this dashboard shell, but the dashboard shell says my sites and has a link for sites. So we're gonna probably have to modify some things in here so that it doesn't say my sites. Let's see. I might just pull this out. Let's make a new component. We'll say the site table header. All that stuff we don't need. This needs to be wrapped in a fragment because we can only return one child, and the breadcrumb and the flex are at the same level. So this allows us to return our one child from our functional component. So now that we have this extracted out, we only want to use it on the site route. So let's see. If you remember, the dashboard shell was just taking in its children and rendering out those children, which allows us to really easily reuse this dashboard shell across different places, because we want this same kind of layout for not only the sites, but the feedback as well. So if we go back to our dashboard, we should render that site table header, and it'll basically looks exactly the same, but now when we go to our feedback route, we shouldn't see that. So let's see if our API route is working. Okay. That's looking decent. On our feedback route, we're going to want to do the same thing with a header here. Feedback table header. Okay. Nice. So now we have that composability where we can swap out whatever children we want to render while still reusing some of that same shell. Okay. I'm noticing the feedback table that we define name, feedback, route, visible, and then trash, but we don't have enough TDs here. So this is actually the visible column. And then name, This is another, I think, a lapse in my data model because I'm not saving off the site name inside of here. So I probably want to do that. Let's, because it should be the site name and not the author name. That would probably make the most sense to me. We will swing back and do that. Next thing I want to look at is switch. Because we're going to use that for visibility. And we want it to be, it's going to be default checked if the feedback status is equal to visible. Because there's really three statuses right now. There's active, pending, and removed. That way, instead of doing like a Boolean of if the comment or feedback had been removed, it's really one of three statuses. Basically, we're just displaying all three of those in different ways. So I kind of like active, I think, instead of visible. Active, pending, or removed. So if it's active, it will show as checked. And then for remove, I'm actually leaning towards not showing the text remove. And I'm thinking about doing just an icon button. So let's see what that looks like. It looks like I might have already, yeah, so I put the status to active for this piece of feedback when I was testing. So because this is active in the database, when it pulls that back, it automatically sets this to, that's not what I want, the switch. It automatically sets that switch to true, and I want green for that. I think that would look better. What else am I missing here? When we click delete, should probably pop a confirmation modal so that we don't accidentally delete things that we don't want to. Let's fix the name first, and then we'll do the delete modal. So to do that, when we save off our feedback, we're going to want to include the site name. So that would be on feedback for a specific, on feedback for a specific site. Yeah, this is interesting. So I have context of the site ID because I was able to build that from the query, but I don't have the entire site object because I only use that to build out the individual paths. So if I wanted to, I could fetch the site for this given site ID and return that information here. I haven't decided if I want to do that yet or not. We'll come back to that. Let's hook up this icon button. So I think I want to use the alert dialog. Something like this. So I swapped out the default button that was included in that example with an icon button. That looks good. Let's see if it formats my code for me. No? Okay. So this ghost variant of button should pop up this modal. Delete feedback. Are you sure you can't undo this after? Cancel, delete. I might abstract this to make it a little bit more generic in the future, so that we could potentially use this as a delete or remove button for multiple pieces of information, but I'm going to save that premature optimization. So I think what now we want to do is just make sure everything's working as expected here. Delete feedback. Goodbye. And that should also close it. Nice. That looks good. Let's actually hook this up to something. So for this, we can just use the client-side Firestore. So let's go to DB. Firestore collection feedback. Is it remove or is it delete? It's a great question. Guess I could probably click into that. Firestore collection, some document, and then delete. So we need to pass in the feedback ID. It's not picking that up for some reason. Oh, classic. That's because I named these the same. So we'll call this on delete. And now we need to actually send this feedback ID into remove button. And we get that from here. And if we really wanted to be safe, we could log out back feedback ID before we actually do anything on our database. Looks good. Yeah, I guess now, even after it's deleted, we have the feedback cached with SWR, so we're gonna have to update that cache. So if I delete this, it's going to delete from the database, but it's not updating this. So we're going to need to do something similar with mutation here. So you see that what happened was I took my browser focus outside of my window, and then when I clicked back in, SWR in the background did a refetch to fetch the newest information, but that's not good enough. We want to have it look instant with optimistic UI. So let's do that. Okay, so after we delete it, we want to update the cache for API feedback given this user, and we want to take the feedback and basically we're going to take data.feedback and we're going to filter out everything where the feedback is not equal to feedback.id is not equal to. So this will take the array of feedback, filter out any where the feedback ID, that's the opposite, the feedback ID is equal to whatever we passed in, and it would return that new array. We don't need to do the new site, but we do need to return this. So I think we can do it like that. Do a hard refresh here and see what it looks like. I think that did the opposite of what I wanted. Yeah, I was right the first time, right? Give me all of the feedback where this condition is met. Let me go back to the dashboard. I also don't like render method of feedback page. Each list should have a unique key prop. Finding all kinds of bugs. That's not what I want. Feedback gets added, but it doesn't have an ID. We might need to create the ID as part of the payload that we send over, so that we immediately have that as part of consider creating feedback ID instead of letting Firebase auto. Okay. We'll want to fix that for sure. If you saw, I quickly sniped in here and made this font weight better. color of blue, font weight, medium. Oh, prettier. Why are you so slow today? Wonder why that variant color isn't working. Ah, it's just color. And I probably need to specify a weight. That looks better. Okay. Back to the feedback page. I want to make sure that the remove button. So this should only filter out, can I delete this? Nice. And if I click inside my editor, and I click back over here and SWR refreshes in the background, we're still doing okay. That looks pretty good. Let's see, what else would be good to do here? We have a new route, we created the table, we reused the layout from the sites table. There's a new API route and a database function. We want to hook up links in the navigation. That's a good one. So we want these to actually go to things. That's part of the dashboard shell. If you remember, I call this next link instead of link because we already have link as part of Chakra. So sites will be dashboard. I almost wonder if we should just rename that to sites, but whatever. That looks pretty good to me. Going back home obviously redirects us to the dashboard. Nice. I'm pretty happy with that. One other thing that I wanted to do if we had time was add the ability to sign in with Google. So right now we only have sign in with GitHub, and it's not really clear that that's an option. So what I want to do is add sign in with Google, and I've already stolen some SVGs that I can use for this. I'm going to pull those up. So I want to have two buttons, one that says sign in with GitHub, one that says sign in with Google. So we'll make this one sign in with GitHub. Yeah. And then inside of our Chakra theme, we have the ability to provide in custom SVGs that we want to use as icons. So I did this before with the logo, and I want to do it again with one for GitHub and one for Google. So I had messed with this ahead of time and found these on Google and converted them into SVGs just to save a little bit of time. So I have those, and on a button there is the ability to do a left icon. Nice. I also want to steal some of the styles from... I had a really nice looking button. Yeah, I really like the look of this button. Let's steal this. So on click, background color gray, font color white, medium, hover, and some fun scale effects on active, and then I need that. We'll make it large. Yeah, let's make this text a bit bigger too. And we'll make this a bit bigger. So it's a little more proportional. Okay, and now I also want to have sign in with Google. Except for this one, I don't want to do the styling of the black and the white just because that's more of GitHub's colors. I kind of want to do the opposite. So let's do background color of white, the font color of kind of like a dark gray. We'll do a variant of an outline button, medium, and then hover, let's do like 100. Yeah, I like this a lot, especially when you click in, you see the active styles like transform it. I really like that. I think this should be capitalized though, looking at this more. Okay, so we've got the UI for this done. Let's do the next piece. Inside of our auth, we have sign in with GitHub. We also want to sign in with Google. Pretty straightforward. If I were to scale this more than just GitHub or Google, I would probably abstract this into like sign in with provider. But given that it's only 2 right now, and I feel like I'm probably going to keep it small. I don't want to have every single social sign-in method possible. So I'm just going to change this from a GitHub auth provider to a Google auth provider and make this function available to use on our hook. And now if we go back into our dashboard and go to authentication, we have our sign-in methods. I actually already went in and enabled Google. Basically, you click on the edit button you should already have this information included. You just pick an email and then you hit enable and save, and that's really all you have to do to turn it on. I haven't tried this yet though, so I'll be interested to see how it works, especially because I already have an account. Okay. Okay. Wow, that actually worked pretty well. It looks like it just updated my existing account to switch to Google. Let's see if it reflects that inside of here. Okay, cool. So now it changed my provider from GitHub to Google. It kept my same unique ID and just updated that account. So I still have all my same sites and feedback, and now I'm able to sign in with Google. That's pretty awesome. That went much more smoothly than I thought. I really love how easy Firebase authentication is, and the fact that they make it so easy to just add on another social sign-in without having to do a lot of extra work. Super nice. One other thing that could be kind of nice is putting that same gray that we have for the site table. Wait, no, dashboard shell. That background color, doing something like that inside of the entirety of this page. I'm going to see what that hex value is. Yeah. I'm curious to see what this looks like. That helps the button pop a little bit. I do like that. Let's see what it looks like on mobile. So we could definitely use some padding on the text. That looks a little bit better. That button should probably be the same as this. That looks good. I mean, this is kind of a temporary landing page anyway. This won't be what it actually looks like when it is completely done, but it looks much better for right now in the time being. I'm pretty happy with that. based on that, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover for this stream. Pretty happy with the progress that we made there. Also being able to get sign in with Google done. So yeah, we created a new route for feedback. We reused that layout from the sites table. We hooked up the API route and that new function to talk to Firestore database. We hooked up the new links in the navigation, and then we set up sign in with Google. So this really sets us up for the next stream, where I want to talk about getting some testing set up before we start adding more complex pieces to the site, like payments. I want to make sure that we have some testing in place. So we're going to be checking out a couple different services that we're going to be using to do end-to-end integration tests that will run on every PR. And one of those we're going to check out is called Checkly. So in the next stream, we're going to be doing some integration tests, and we'll do the full flow of logging to the application, verifying that my sites are there, leaving some feedback, and trying that out. So stay tuned for the next stream. Thanks, everyone.